and welcome to the Comic-spiracy episode 628 for the week of January 13th, 2025. We're back. New year, new podcast. No, it's a lie. It's the same old stupid podcast that we always do. Hi, everybody. My name's Ryan Higgins. Who's here this week?
Brock Sager.
Toby.
Kevin.
Lane.
Hey, only like we've done this 628 times. Welcome, everyone.
Well, wait,
welcome
we
back.
were missing the number two voice who always goes second.
Brock?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Can you not hear Brock?
No.
Nope.
I can't hear Kevin or
Brock,
Lane.
Can you hear everyone else?
I can hear Brock.
I can hear.
What?
I can hear Ryan and
Off to
Toby.
a banging
and
start,
that's
Ryan.
it.
All right.
Well, that's it. 628 is a good run.
We're all waiting. That's when
That's why there was that awkward pause. I was like, when's Brock going to talk?
Yeah.
He did. Okay, this is interesting. Brock, you can only hear Toby.
I can only hear you and Toby.
Yay.
Toby, can you hear Kevin and Lane?
Yeah.
Kevin, can you hear Toby?
I hear everybody but Brock.
And Lane?
Same.
You
I can hear everyone but Brock.
What?
Let's wing it, Ryan.
Back,
Just do
Ryan.
it. Just do it.
Welcome back, Ryan.
You just translate.
All right.
Yeah, you have to just repeat everything Brock says. What?
Toby, you should do that. That's your job.
That'd be interesting. I might translate differently.
But then he can't
This will be
merge
fun.
it, though.
I'll stop this and add this to the beginning of the podcast just because it's funny. But then we'll try to restart this and see if this works. So hold on, we'll be right back. And third time's a charm. So here we are. Hello, everyone. I think everyone can hear each other. Hello. Is this thing on? Bueller, is this thing on? Hello. Okay. What a start. What a start. First, Dunkin' Donuts stops selling donuts in certain locations because of a donut shortage. And now we fuck up our podcast on our very first attempt to record in 2025. What a year this
Is
has
your
been
location
already. What a year.
affected? Your Dunkin'?
With the Dunkin' Donuts? No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I believe it's only certain East Coast because of bad weather. But fortunately, we on the West Coast, we will survive this Dunkin' apocalypse. So Dunkin' apocalypse, as I call it.
Until the fires burn their stocks over here, and then we're
Yeah.
Or they run that egg.
LA doesn't have any Dunkin'. LA's got all their own shops. So. What a great start to 2025. Hello everyone. We're here to talk about comic books and comic book stuff. But before we get into a little bit of news, I thought I'd regale you with my comic book related experiences on my trip to Japan this last month, or I guess end of December, beginning of January. Because me and Leanne went back to Japan for a little vacay. Brock and Marshall and Lane doing some house sitting and warehouse work. All my wonderful guys ran the store. Thank you very much, Brock.
I tried not to burn it down, but man,
I heard Toby rang up a customer, so I just want to know how much do I have to fix? How much bookkeeping work is there going to be?
I have to charge you an hour for ringing the one customer up.
The one customer, yeah.
Well,
you also answered the phone, so that's 2 hours.
Yeah,
You
also you had 2 other employees in the store that obviously didn't ring him up, and so I just have to do the fucking work.
Is it okay getting behind the counter, Toby, again? Back in the old
I
saddle?
had to ask for some help. Things changed in that stupid app you use.
I mean, they always change. How do you like DC's new very skinny barcodes? Did you have to ring up any of those?
Yeah, well, no, the one that had promises was the Chrome covers, where I have to hold my hand in kind of an angle for it to fucking work.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck DC. Thought you were a DC lover. Fuck DC.
People that make Chrome covers for your comic books, remember, a shiny object cannot be scanned by a barcode. You have to have a flat... it generally works with Marvel and other companies do when there's a flat white border around the barcode. If you can't,
that
it just reflects off.
foil experience.
So what? So you got to what people figured out you could do is you could rest your hand like over the barcode, kind of shadowing it, and it makes like it dark enough that the scan gun will pick up off the reflection.
So technically, this is something that works with normal fucking barcodes too. If there's too much light, it won't actually scan.
Yeah.
So we have this difficulty at the warehouse where you try to scan something, and because there's so much fucking light from the one light source above you, it doesn't scan right.
Is that why?
Yep.
Is that why? I thought the scan gun was just broken. Sometimes I've tried to scan stuff there, and I'm like,
You have to make it darker.
I'm all up for that.
Yeah, no.
While we were gone, Brock also installed some shades, and I put a poster in the front.
Those were new?
I swear to God, they must. So we have this thing during the winter where, because of the rotation of the Earth against the sun or whatever, in the winter the sun like comes right underneath where the awning is. During the summer, it's fine. During the summer, it's not a problem. But during the winter, the way that fucking sun comes through our front window, like this year, there must be a tree that they took out, or the Earth's shifting more, or something. Climate change. I don't know what the hell the reason is. I swear that sun has been brutal, way worse than it has in previous years. So we got some shades, and then it still managed to find ways to come to the top. So I put kind of like a poster up there, and it works fine, just to kind of block that sun out. But it's like I was dying standing there. It's 50 degrees outside, but it's like 110 standing at the cash register because of that goddamn sun for a few hours.
It makes so much more sense now that I realized that was new, because both Marshall and Brock kept asking me what I thought of it, and I was like, why the fuck would they care what I thought of it?
Yeah, we had one there because it used to be like that blocked the majority of it, but I was like, something is going on. Yeah. So we put 3 more shades up, kind of blocking those windows. So just put them down during those couple hours and pull them up at night. Like, it's fine.
The urge to write "we're open" on the big one. I'm so tempted.
Oh, it's fine. People know we're open. The lights are on and everything. It's just that's goddamn. That goddamn sun, man, it's the worst.
Then you have a Tesla park right in that spot, and their fucking windshield's just
Sometimes, if there's a car right in that very first spot, the sun can like reflect right off the light, right off the front of that, and just right in your face, right at the cash register. It's like perfect placement. I don't know. Like, if I move the cash register back like a foot, all these problems would be solved. It wouldn't be a problem. It's exactly where it is.
No, just the customers will be blinded as they walk out of the store.
All right, customers, everyone that owns a shiny Tesla, go park it in front of Ryan's shop.
Please don't. But we were over there for a few weeks. Did a little bit of a different trip. Did a couple other things. We went to some different areas. We went to Nagasaki, which is like kind of the southern end of Japan, and we flew to Tokyo, and then flew on Nagasaki, and then kind of came back up to Tokyo into New Year's. And there was, say, 2 very specific comic things, unless I'm missing something. But there was also one other thing we kind of stumbled upon. Totally unplanned. When we were in Nagasaki looking around, I kept seeing, we saw a couple signs for it, and we looked it up, and sure enough, at the Nagasaki Museum, just their art museum, they had I guess it's been touring. It's Osamu Tezuka's Blackjack, which is one of his like long form weekly manga series that he did back in the 70s, right? Mid 70s. It's about this doctor, and their short stories are all 8 pages, 10 pages, which is pretty typical for a lot of the weekly manga stories. And they have, so this tour has been going through with, God, there must have been at least a dozen full story with original art. So all like hundreds, I think it says over 500 pages of original Tezuka art. So there was like maybe a dozen full stories, including the very first Blackjack story, and then almost every story that he did, a lot, like a couple hundred stories he did had like sort of 1 or 2 pages of examples from it. So it's hundreds and hundreds of pieces of original art. I've never seen original Tezuka art before. It's really cool. Original pages of Japanese art never really come this way. Maybe Comic-Cons had them occasionally, but really cool experience. I don't know what the interest for this would be outside Japan. I mean, it's I could maybe Comic-Con or something on the West Coast would get it. Maybe it's possible this came here. This is the first I heard about it, but it's been kind of going through Japan the last couple of years. So really neat stuff. I mean, I think it just stopped being. This is like October to January, so I don't know what their next plan is for this. But yeah, I've never seen any of this stuff in person, so really, really cool. And this was totally just advertised, just walking around. It's a little, it's a little hard to state just how much cartooning and comic books are just everywhere in Japan.
Fucking way of life.
Yeah, it's it's still it's a little kids thing for a lot of it, but now obviously there's a big otaku culture, and a lot of the obviously this stuff is extremely popular outside Japan too. So there's definitely a more acceptance of it among adults. Less so than I think America, but it's there. This wasn't like nobody was there. This was in a major art museum, a major centerpiece, and it was full. There was a lot of people there. So this was not like just some random nothing. So this stuff's really seen as art, but everywhere you go, every place has little characters, little comic strips. On the back of the bus we were taking out of the airport, like the very first day, there's like this ad for some alcohol, and it was just like these comic strips on the back of the bus seats, on the back of every single seat, and it's just like immediate. The first thing you see is comic book stuff. It's really cool. It is just like, whenever people, just gotta make comics in America, you just have to, put them in anthologies and they'll sell better. People misunderstand. This is a cultural just acceptance for 100 years now, right? That these things are there.
It goes even like when I was a kid, my dad worked in Japan when I was a kid, and he would bring me toys back, and all the instructions, I never had any problems because it'd be just a cartoon, it'd be a comic strip, or there's so many drawings that you don't need to read it. You just follow the pictures and you'll understand how to play with the toy. Or instructions for video games were really dude, I mean, the old video game instructions were awesome because it had so many illustrations in it that you just look at the pictures. You don't sometimes I was like, man, the pictures are so good. I'm like, I just want to look at it as almost like a picture book almost. Yeah.
Well, going through those blackjack, all the early stuff, you don't need the words. You know exactly what's going on in every single comic, right? Because it's cartooning. It's supposed to be understood by kind of everyone looking at it, regardless of their age or ability. So, and it just permeates every part of their society. It is just everywhere. So yeah, it's not just as simple as make some Batman anthologies. That's not what this is. This is a cultural acceptance of this that, in the past you'd see people reading manga on the trains, and we saw some kids reading physical books, not many. It's more adults reading physical books on the trains. But all the time people on their phone, right? So, I think manga translates pretty well to mobile devices, much more so than Western comics, just because they're more cartoony nature. Not that they're cartoony, but the comic strip nature. I think a lot of the American comics they've tried. Marvel and DC both have these, scrolling comics now. And I checked out a couple of them, and boy, they are just poor, just very bad, And I don't know. I don't think these have much of a chance here. But yeah, it's super, super interesting to see how it's. I can't imagine a Jack Kirby exhibit at a major museum. They exist. You have the Cartoon Art Museum, and you get, there are some times where comic book stuff will. What's the one we went to in Seattle? What's the museum there? Where they had all the comic stuff, and then they have all. Yeah, we went.
Mopop.
Yeah. Was it Mopop? Yeah. But that's a little different, right? That's more aimed at pop culture stuff. So, I couldn't imagine a large regional art museum having a big, Marvel comic art piece, like touring piece, occasionally, but yeah, not often. So that was cool. In a similar fashion, when we were in Tokyo, we had also just completely came across this at another museum. We saw these ads for it, and of course, this is what gets people in. And there was a Pokemon exhibit. So this was not original art. This was all stuff that was created for this art exhibit, and it was some people that had known Pokemon. Some people, it was like their first, it said this was like their first experience doing anything in the world of Pokemon. But these range from huge sculptures to really experimental pieces to artwork to these incredibly like laser crafted little boxes with little signatures on them, to just this like room filled with all these Pikachu cups. It was very like on brand and on model. It's this really obscure, this really artistic stuff. So it ran the gamut of accessible to kids to real, real art pieces. Very neat stuff too. Really cool. And just again, something I don't think you ever see here. It's just an acceptance of that pop culture stuff that I find is so rare here, which is unfortunate, because I belongs in a museum. You kidding me? Come on, let's get some of this comic art stuff in like real museums. I don't know. I think it's really cool. We'd see like they'd have some. There was at one of the, because Japan's, it's like malls. It's like 1,000 malls on every block. There was this, they had this whole like water display, and they would have music playing during some of the water display outside this mall. But then they had this whole Gundam thing where they have these like Gundam light shows. Again, we just completely ran across this. I had no idea this thing was there. We had no idea. It just happened to be there. It was like the first day at this place, like starting back up when we got there. But what's that? Oh yeah. But they had these, they're playing like classical music, and the water display is going while people are shopping. But then, every couple hours they would have this like very specific whole thing for Mobile Suit Gundam, and it had this big installation of all these light projections that it would project across the screen, and that draws kind of this mass group of people to watch it. But then mid-screen they had all this classical music stuff. So the one thing I like that actually has become popular worldwide, I assume it's kind of everywhere now, is taking things like more modern films and classic movie scores and doing, the video game soundtrack stuff at live theater, right? Being able to go to see an orchestra. I've done the Zelda one, I did in Mario one, or a Nintendo one. We've done Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and we do Game of Thrones, right? So like, but it's just, it's the music's great, right? It's seeing a full live orchestra play this music. It's a really cool experience. Nothing against, a bunch of classic music, but this is stuff that we appreciate, that modern people appreciate. That so. What were you saying, Toby?
No, I said I did E.T.
Oh, E.T.
Yeah, with the San Jose orchestra.
Nice. Yeah, it's really, I like that. I think especially if you're trying to get your kids or someone that's not really into theater or classical music or any of that stuff. I mean, God knows I'm not, right? But that's the type of thing that's going to get me out. The Pokemon exhibit's something that's going to get me to a museum. And it's not that it's not junk. It's not like, here's some crap, now here's the real stuff. They take this stuff extremely serious, right? The Blackjack exhibit was huge. It took up a huge chunk of the museum, and it was legit. It was awesome. So, it was a hell of a lot busier than the rest of the museum, featuring a bunch of 500-year-old paintings by a bunch of religious dead people. So, it's just for most people, this stuff's going to be way more interesting, and I don't know, in my mind, I think it's just as important. So, Leanne said they had a again, because everything's malls, right? They had this Nintendo stamp run. We came across this or stamp rally Again, totally. The last day we were there, had no idea it was there. I saw these little kids walking around with these Mario block little pamphlets, and I'm like, huh, wonder what that's about. Interesting. And then we see this display for one of the new games. They had this big display out inside one of the malls, but they had it like kind of in like the courtyard. I'm like, okay, there's something here. What the hell is the deal with this? So we asked someone, and we found they were doing this like stamp rally. So you basically would go to these 6 malls. And again, when you think 6 malls, you're thinking like Valley Fair here. It's not that. It's 6 buildings all next to each other, right? Because again, everything's a fucking 10-story mall everywhere in Japan. And so, yeah, it was like, you go into the main one and you get this book, and then you can go around and see all these displays that they do inside the malls, and different floors have different things. And you go and you get these stamps, and you go back to the first place, and they give you like a little sticker prize and everything. And, of course, there's a bunch of kids doing it with their parents, and then a bunch of weebs, me and Leanne, and a bunch of other random foreign tourists out there doing it. But just really cool stuff that it's. I mean, Kevin, you've been, Toby, it's hard to explain just the layout, the culture, just the city structure. I mean, New York's close. Yeah. Parts of San Francisco are close. I think
it's close because the people there actually respect everything.
Yeah.
If you could think of like a classier version of Times Square, maybe.
Yeah.
Would be the
like opposite version of Times Square.
Well, but the visual, but I don't know. I don't even know. Yeah, it's
hard to explain. Yeah, it's I don't want to come off as some total, Japanophile weeb, but it's like, look, there's obviously stuff we do great here, and after a few weeks, I sure missed In-N-Out Burger and my own bed and, all sorts of American stuff. But also it's like when you're there, you're like, man, this place is, some of this is, they've got this figured out in a way that America specifically just never, it can't, because of the size, because of our reliance on cars, lack of public transit. It's impossible to replicate here, except in extremely specific areas like small parts of San Francisco, small, parts of New York, Manhattan, right? That's as close. But think of that, like 100 Manhattans, right? Is all the major cities in Tokyo is how they're structured. It's just so hard to visualize being here. So, yeah, we decided to do some step counters, keep track of our steps there. And it's like, I also feel like the laziest slob when you come back. And I'm like, I walked my 19 steps today. Wonderful. Down from 35,000 while I was there. Walked like 15 miles almost every day. Died. Bit of a shock coming back to driving 40 minutes to get to work. But now, what are you going to do? The big one though, the thing we actually planned, one of the, not the reason we went, but one of the main reasons when we decided to go, I said, okay, if we're going in winter, we're going to this, was to go to Comiket. So this is Comic Market. This is the biggest comic convention, as far as I understand, in the world. It's since COVID, it's been a little bit different. It used to be like a 1 day, 2 day thing. I think at parts it's expanded out as far as even 4 days. I'm seeing 2018, 2019, it was 3 days. It was 4 days in 2019, averaging, the way it works is every day is a whole brand new convention. People only have the booth for the 1 day. So I believe a 4 day convention would have 4 mostly completely separate groups of people there. Comic Market is a fan convention. Again, for the most part, it's not, it's not Shonen Jump and Square Enix and stuff like that. It's fans. So I did a little of the math. I think Toby, right? We were looking up the numbers. Mm-hmm. It's like 1.5 Comic-Cons in size.
Yeah, that's what we kind of concluded. But
yeah,
you were actually there. You've been at Comic-Con, so you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to because it's multiple rooms. It's a little bit harder. But just looking at the raw numbers, it looks like it's maybe 1.5 to 2 to 1 3/4 Comic-Cons. So kind of Kevin, Lane, get that in your head. Brock, you've been to like the Santa Clara Convention Center. Yeah. That's probably a fourth of Comic-Con, I'd say, in size. That big hall.
Yeah.
You're just talking convention hall size.
The hall size, yeah. So think maybe 7 or 8 of those.
The San Jose Convention Center?
6 or 7 of those, yeah. In size. I'm trying to think of it's humongous. All right, so they had 300,000 paid attendees. So it's basically 150 because it's each day you have to have a ticket. Again, I think you can get like a whole weekend pass or whatever, but they count per day entries. So, it holds roughly 150,000 attendees, which puts it at the level of Comic-Con, right? That probably I don't know what Comic-Con's like paid attendance is, something like that. Little less than that. But the vendors are again all small, basically the equivalent of self-published or small press. And so take the Artist Alley from Comic-Con, but apply that to the entire convention hall and then half again.
That's insanity.
It is staggering.
How do you get through the entire thing?
So I'll tell you how we get through the entire thing. We get there pretty early. People, the line at Comic-Con at Comiket is kind of an experience in and of itself. So we have
may I first ask, when you were there, was it like Comic-Con where it's like, maybe like 70%, just good old Americans, and then like, some people that travel like from other places? Like, was it just all Japanese? Was it a good?
Well, like most things, it's 95%, 98% Japanese.
Okay.
There were clearly tourists there. There were plenty of, we would run across a handful of white people or Americans, but it was not anything close to a massive percent. It's still, it's
their thing.
Yeah. It's tough to tell. I won't claim to be able to tell in a sea of 100,000 people waiting to get in, who's local Japanese and who's a Chinese or Korean tourist, from the back of their heads, as wide as I could see. But it appears to be the vast majority, vast majority are local Japanese people.
Okay.
So there's like, you basically just get a wristband beforehand and you get into the line, and it's like the line is like military precision. You're walking like they are like, it's just silent and everyone's in line and everyone's just marching. Like they have these like regiment like blocks going in at a time because it's timed entry. You could get there in the morning for like the full day, and that's for like the cosplayers and certain people that want certain, that's kind of those are the tickets to sell it the fastest. Then there's like an 11 a.m. entry. Then there's a 12:30 entry, which is like afternoon, and it shuts down at like 4:30. Like this doesn't go late. There's no paneling. There's no.
So you really have to Hall H to get through all these tables.
There's no Hall H or anything like that, right? And so the line, like you gotta just look at some videos. There has to be videos where people have posted about this. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The line to Comic-Con is just a mass of flesh trying to pour through those little.
It's a living organism. It's like one of those things in the Studio Ghibli movies where it's like massive organisms, like creatures that merge into each other, become like one giant snake.
It's like Akira. It's like that blob thing that comes out of his head. You know, they're like, there's just this mass that just swarms. No, this was like fucking. You're watching a military practice here of like. You start, you walk, nobody's cutting, nobody's running. Everyone's in straight file lines, and it's 20 people wide by 200 people long, and it's just these military marches. It was amazing. Like, and the people in the front, they had control of that group. Everyone was silent. You could hear birds chirping a mile away. It's 100,000 fucking people. The place is called Tokyo Big Sight, and that's no joke. The place is enormous. And you're walking, it looks like you're an army marching towards the convention hall because they have you out in this huge, like.
Did they have signage in English, or how did you know where to go?
They had some, yeah. But and they had like international help. So and you just sort of like you point at the wristband. You're like wristband, and they're like this way, wristband this way. You know,
nice.
A lot of pointing. That Do your research beforehand. I didn't make too big of an ass of ourselves, except for one guy. He was like splitting the line, and he was telling us to go one way, and I didn't see him, and I was like, oh shit, we got to go this way because he was trying to like couple people to the right, couple people to the left, and you would form your own little regiments as you got around this building, and it was unbelievable. So we just, I had no expectation of anything, because every day is a little bit different. So the first day, it looked like it had a lot of the licensed fan comics, like Dijinchi, and it's all like the fan comic stuff in Japan is huge. This is, and stuff like Comiket is where people go to like find the next big comic creators, right? So
wait, I didn't know that. Is this some kind of recruitment thing for like Shonen Jump and stuff like that?
I think that's part of it, right? A lot of these people
didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I that's what I understand. It's not like that's what they're going there for,
sure,
but I think that happens, right? Because it one day seemed like it was more licensed stuff, right? So people that would do Final Fantasy and Gundam, and there was a whole I forget, there was one entire hall that was all, I guess, all for was it Idol Master? It was some show, and so we weren't there that day. I don't know how it broke down. They kind of tell you what each area is about, and so like when you're going through the artist alley, everything's segmented into little. You're like, oh, we're in the train section now. These are all these are all individually made train catalogs of trains that ran from 1978 to 1983, and these people made these books, and this is their self-published thing, and there's 50 train guys all in a row, right? And then you turn a corner and it's suddenly you're in like the motorcycle area, and everyone has motorcycle stuff. There's like some maker fair stuff a little bit. There were a lot of technical manuals, people with like Lego construction. So there's a little bit of that the second day. But we decided to go. There's like two halls. We went to the West Hall. It was, and they had some video game stuff up top, and it was mostly like newer mobile games. So those were bigger booths. That's a little bit different. They had like people doing like songs, and they had a bunch of cosplayers up there. And so that was kind of like the one actual like area that was like for licensed stuff. But the hall below it was just fan art stuff, right? So just miles and miles of it. So your buddy Philip Tan was there the day prior.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, that would have been cool to see him. I've talked to him you've introduced us once or twice at the convention. Yeah. It's cool to see someone here that's American, just American comic artist there. So we're walking around looking at stuff, and I'm like, huh? And I look at this, and I see in the back of one of the booths is a little name tag, and it says Whilce Portacio. And I'm like, Whilce Portacio? And Leanne's like, "You want to go talk to him?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, I don't know him, but sure." So we walk up, and Lane, you said that was his wife, right? I'm assuming he was with.
I don't know. I don't know if she goes to that show or not, but I usually talk to his wife. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there was her, him. They had a couple other people with them. I just walked up, and they're like, "Oh, hello," and I'm like, "Hi." Clearly, not Japanese. I know a comic book store. This is hello. We can speak English to each other for 10 minutes. So we talked to Louis Portacio for a while just about what he was doing there. He said it was his first time doing Comiket.
Oh, wow.
People said it was interesting, like an interesting experience. So he went out, and he's just this little booth in the middle of everything else, right? Just
no way.
by himself, with his people. Yeah. But yeah, there was like, there's no like image booth or, big booth with all this stuff. They're all these tiny little booths. Yeah, it's Japan. So
this is funny. Right? I really, next time I see, Lane is probably more with Will than me or Philip, but really curious what their thoughts are on it, because I'm really curious what their side of the story is, because this must be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they had only been maybe set up for an hour or two by the time we saw them, so they didn't really have a great idea of how the convention had been, but it was, it's interesting. And like tickets to get in, what are they, like $6?
What?
it's like 800 yen or 1,000 yen or something like that for a ticket. Like, wow. It's like nothing. It's free. It's like, barely costs anything.
Now, do you think people there go to every day?
I'm sure. I mean, people were walking around with full-on rolling bag suitcases, big duffel bags to load up on all their fan comics and artwork and everything. And so they actually, like, kind of at what I would have called like a fire exit, they had these like bigger booths. So they actually had these doors that would go outside. And it seems like they know where the lines are going to be, because obviously these people are more popular or famous in some regard, but they're still fans. These aren't like professionally done stuff. They're not professionally published material. So there was kind of stuff on the outside. It was still inside the convention hall, but it was facing out these doors. And so they would line people outside for those lines, because those lines would have actually gotten pretty long and kind of snaked through the halls. And, it would have been a not great experience for people kind of lining up near them. But still, even those were not crazy lines. It was just longer than a couple people. I got a Dragon Quest 3 fan comic made by this guy. I looked him up. He's on Instagram, of course, that does all these like fantasy food drawings. And had a line that Leanne bought a calendar from him. I don't know if it's from them. It was for whoever's running the booth. I don't know if the guy's actually there. But I was looking on his Instagram and said he had like some stuff had come back into print. So clearly this is they have a decent number of followers, but it's still a self-published thing. This isn't like not working for Square Enix or anything like that. So we do that. We spent a couple hours there, and we're like, oh my God, this place is fucking gigantic. We gotta get going. Like, we're not gonna be able to see everything else, because we still have the entire like main hall to do, right? Mm-hmm. So we start heading over there, and I'm looking at the thing. I'm like, well, yeah, this is it has like where the train and the motorcycle and baseball stuff is. So there's like some manual.
When you say the train and the motorcycle, is that all hand drawn, or is it just self-published train books?
No, so most of this stuff again was books or like little like photo guides, right? So this stuff was not. So like I said, there was kind of some like crafter maker fair type stuff, and these were like, and then like literal like computer technical manuals, how-to type manuals. Those people were all in that first area we were with, kind of off in a section. And I was like, this is interesting. I don't know what the market for this is, but here's some guys' technical manual and a bunch of programming stuff, right? So these guys would have, again, like photo guide books of trains from certain cities and books about all the Japanese motorcycles from certain, just cataloged and organized, and fascinating stuff. Stuff was really cool.
Don't forget how popular those train games are in Japan.
Oh yeah. Dude,
they're really popular.
Dude, I love trains. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Leanne. We talk about this all the time. I am so close to becoming a train guy. like if I get a little more room in that garage, model train guy, it's coming. It's gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen. I get my Gundams. They can look over the trains. It's gonna be amazing. Okay, I already got it all planned out.
I'll be there right there with you, dude.
my little cities. I love that.
I think the whole train thing is adjacent nerdism.
Trust me.
Like,
all these people were super nerds.
Yeah, it's like one adjacent, like one off, like like half a link guys are train guys, and
of course,
totally.
So when I was looking at the little guide, the majority of that room, because the big hall was kind of like 6 halls that had been like kind of like that sort of like divides between the different halls, so that they would like basically undo these divides. So it ends up making this one massive hall, but it was still kind of like six sections. And it would kind of lay out what was in each section. And basically the entire section for this entire hall was men's fanfic. And I'm like, I don't know what men's fanfic is. Well, I'll tell you what men's fanfic is. Pornography. We went on the porno day.
The word men's didn't give this away for you.
I assumed there was some. No, my friend. Imagine a Comic-Con. Imagine an Artist Alley. A Comic-Con with nothing but Artist Alley of pornography.
Hey, San Diego used to be like that.
Huh?
San Diego used to have rows like that.
Oh yeah. Sure. This was a bit much. Like, I'm not a prude. I'm all for all the pornography you want to make. That's wonderful. This was a lot. And like, we kind of start walking, and like, so we did see the train and the baseball guys, and those guys were kind of off to one section. We're kind of walking, and we're like, that's a lot of big titty anime stuff. That's a lot of mouse pads with the boobs that you rest your hands on. That's a lot of body pillows. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yep. That's just full on nudity. Got it. Excellent. Oh, those look a little too young. That's not great. Let's keep walking. Now we're into cosplay model and Instagram model section, and suddenly like it becomes a lot tighter. And more people, and just suddenly, like, I'm like, oh, this is where everyone is. Just lines and lines and rows of people for the cosplay models and Instagram models, and the people selling the real adult stuff. And it was like, Leanne's like, she's like, I gotta get out of here. This is just too much. And I'm like, oh, maybe over there there's less. Let's go that way and see what's over that way. And we're kind of walking, and we're like, God damn, this is...
I was like, there's nothing for women. It's all for men.
It's all for men.
You should have gone for the fanfic for Women's Day.
Yeah, where's the women's fanfic?
Yeah, where's the Women's Day?
Yeah, so maybe a small section is somewhere else, right? So this is the breakdown of comic pornography in Japan, right? You have the porn for, the hentai, right? The porn for men by men, right? And then you have the porn for gay men by gay men, right? And these are extremely graphic, right? All that stuff is extremely graphic. The pornography for women is by women, and it tends to be very, flowery and romance driven. This is a very broad generalization. Please, I know there's contraries to everything, but there's I don't know if there's actually any like pornography for women by men. Again, it probably exists, but I don't.
They had to blur penises out.
Yeah, so girls that don't look more than 12 years old, you can show whatever you want. Penis? Nope, penis is blurred. So, and there's no one checking ages here. There's no one checking wristbands. I I assume you just know to not bring your kid to this area. Maybe you do, and it doesn't matter. Maybe nobody cares. I mean, it's a very American prudish thing, I guess. But like, it was a lot. So, if you go on Men's Fanfic Day, just be prepared. Maybe that's what you're there for. People were rolling out of that place with stacks of signed DVDs, with just boxes of comics and magazines. So look, hey, you do you. I'm all for you. Go for it. But like, it was a lot, a lot. So we didn't spend too much time in this bigger room. We eventually got to the other areas that had more stuff, and we kind of ran through, and we're like, okay, I think we're done here. We're exhausted, and this was we got through this area a little quicker than a lot of people that were there. But it was fascinating. Just a completely different experience than any convention anyone here has ever been to. It's I would love to go the other day to see like the licensed stuff, like the licensed fanfic stuff. What's that? Oh yeah. At the place where we were in Tokyo, they had like a little bar attached to the units that own the units we stayed in. And I had said we were going to Comiket, and the bartender, she was like, "Oh, I'm very concerned for you," and I'm like, "No, it's fine."
Like in what way? Wait, hold on, no, I'm curious. In what way?
I think she just thought we wouldn't know how big it was, and I was like, "Well." I run an American manga store. I've been to American version of Comiket. It's fine. You know, like I know this is busy. And it was busy, but it was like, I mean, Comic-Con is a fucking disorganized mess compared to this place, right? Comic-Con is just, all the cosplayers too. No cosplayers anywhere. All the cosplayers are basically segregated out to their own little part of the convention center, and you just line up and take photos with cosplayers, and that's what they're there all day long for. They're not wandering the halls. They're not meeting in places. They're not walking down the rows, clogging up the place. I saw a couple, like, people in, like, very minor, like, cosplay-ish type stuff walking around, but very few, very, very few. If you're there for cosplay, you're going to the cosplay area, and you're waiting in line to take photos, and it's like a whole other part of the convention.
Line to take photos.
Yeah. There was all the cosplayers would be stationed at basically an equivalent of a booth. Like if you're like a real cosplayer, you have to get like a cosplay ticket and get there and set up like almost like a vendor.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty much celebrities there.
Yeah. No, those lines like
they don't have the normal cosplayers, so just dress up to go to the thing.
Yeah, there was a couple. Like I saw a couple people walking around, sort of.
I'm sure there's
loose cosplay.
I saw some cosplay, but not like big.
No, yeah, not big. No. Right. Those assholes that walk down Artist Alley with like fucking angel wings and alien tails and are knocking shit over and getting in everyone's way, or the Deadpools running around, and nothing like that. They were just people in like very minor cosplays walking around. But the real cosplayers, yeah, no, you're basically like a vendor there, and people line up to take photos with you. Everything's a line. Like Leanne even tried. There was like all these like booth babes kind of for one of these video game things, and Leanne was trying to take a photo, and the lady was like, "No, you have to get in line to take a photo." It is just. No, not with them. Yeah. Take a photo of them. So there's a mass of 40 people across by 50 people deep.
Off them?
To take a picture of the cosplay of the booth babe models that were there for whatever game they were promoting. And it was this like extremely organized. And people were there with their like, super they weren't out there with their phones. They were there with like high tech, real, modern. Real cameras. It's a very different experience. And Comiket's kind of this is a thing. There was like what was the one that all the people went to like at beginning of December, Lane? It was, I think it's just the Japan Comic-Con or Tokyo Comic-Con. I would assume that's a little bit more like in a Western comic convention.
Yeah, it is.
Just based on the guests.
Regular booths, and because I know one of the guys that was selling there. Yeah, he had a regular booth selling comics like slabs and and then there were a lot of American artists there.
Right. Because I saw a lot of people that were there, that were, like West Coast American comic people that were at that convention. And I think that's a more like traditional Western comic convention. Comiket's like a very different thing, but it is like, it's really neat. It's totally not for everybody. But it was a really cool experience just to see something just so completely foreign to what we're used to here. It's worth going. I bought like one thing, right? Like, I don't know that I would have, maybe I would have bought more stuff if we were there the other day and it was kind of stuff I knew. It's a little bit hard to like, oh, I'll just buy this random person's fan comic because there's a lot of pretty, there's a lot of garbage. All right. There's obviously a lot of really crudely made stuff, but then there's some stuff where I'm like, wow, this looks better than most published comics in America. Like, this is like a real thing. So, yeah, very neat experience.
What did you say? It was a Dragon Warrior thing you bought?
Yeah. I'll send you a picture of it. Yeah, and again,
I want to flip through it.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of all this. I assume, because this is of licensed properties, I think kind of doujinshi and they kind of get around this by it being like a limited one time, these are kind of it's not an officially published thing, right? It's not. So I as I understand, when I was reading up on some of the tips for Comiket, they're like, oh, a lot of these print runs are very low. Make sure you have your favorite people mapped out because you're going to have to get there really fast. I think Philip Tan's book, I think, was like 150 copies. I saw on his Facebook page. So yeah, I think they have to be kind of these like for that stuff, maybe more limited because they don't want to like, I think they probably don't want to print,
Yeah, I heard a long time ago that it was something like, I think 40 to 50 copies for like books or something like that. But I don't know if that's still true. This is like a decade ago.
Yeah, I don't know all the legal specifics, but it definitely feels like this is not something that they're selling, every day on their website or something. I think a lot of the stuff is made for the conventions, these kind of limited quantities, and that's part of the appeal, is that you're getting this fan comic stuff, right? I mean, if you set up at a convention, you were selling a Batman comic you made and it was one time only and you sold 50 copies, I'm sure it's fine, right? Like, DC's not going to say anything, probably. But if you're like, oh yeah, here I am on Kickstarter back in my Spider-Man comic, it's like, no, you get that shit shut down. I don't think it's any different. I think it may actually be even more strict in Japan. They're really strict about that
as long
stuff.
As that wasn't a men's fanfic Batman.
There's a lot of that too, and that's probably why it's so limited, right? There's a lot of doujinshi is adults, so it's like, yeah, if you want your adult version. We saw when we were in Mandarake, which is the kind of their big chain nerd, like used nerd store. We were going through the adult section for like they had the section for American comic stuff, and there was a little bit of like Batman and Superman and DC stuff. There wasn't very much. There was probably an entire shelf of fan comic Captain America comics.
What?
Adult Captain America comics. And almost every single one was Steve Rogers and Tony Stark.
No.
Yeah.
Some more adult than others, some just them in a loving relationship with a child and everything like that. And some was extremely pornographic, but it was like an entire, like, not even like Iron Man had a bigger second. It was Captain. It's got to be like a, blonde hair, blue eye, white person. Captain America is that ideal, right? So that's what they all went for.
Wow.
Yeah, huge section, all Captain America.
All right, so
Marvel, if you're looking for an next idea,
biz.
I should buy it all and sell it all on the website.
Wow.
Yeah, Marvel.
God, people would buy that.
It was fascinating. It is such a cool experience. Toby, you would, like, I could just imagine Toby. You wouldn't know what to do. It's just,
what do you mean?
It's just so unlike anything we've had here. I'd love to see you there. It'd be the funniest thing. Like Kevin and Lane, it'd be fine. Brock would kind of look around and be like, well, I can't read it. But like,
Yeah.
Toby, I think you'd have a good time.
Dude, if I make it there, we're gonna be partying with some people at night that we've spent that day.
We'll just drop Toby off in the morning. We'll pick him up in the evening.
No, just see me the next morning again, man.
But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I would love to go back to Comiket. I don't know about the summer one. So they do this in the summer.
It's gotta be hot.
August.
It's gotta be
in August. It fucking be 1,000,000 degrees in there.
Yeah, it's gotta be like super muggy, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle that. December, totally fine. I don't know that I could handle August in the Comic-Con porn madness. But yeah, December, Toby. Let's do it. Let's make a plan.
Hell yeah.
Get your pre-orders in now for your Captain America erotic fanfic.
All right.
So
I know you said that their tickets are cheap, but how are they easy to get as well?
Yeah, like do they sell out?
It's tough to tell, right? So I have a friend that lived there. He was able to go down to the 7-Eleven and just buy me.
You know what's funny? I bought my Studio Ghibli Museum thing at the 7-Eleven too, but I needed someone to help me because it was all in friggin' Japanese.
Yeah, I mean they have translation pages so you can go in and translate it. I think if you want the 11 o'clock pass or the 12:30 pass, the ones we get, I think you can pretty much roll up to any of the anime shops or Mandarake or any of that in the week prior and the couple days prior and just buy it. I don't think it's something that they like. I think they sell out, but I don't think it's like Comic-Con type. I think the cosplay one and the early entry one does. For when I was looking around on their website, there's like a way to buy online as a foreigner through their website. But I just had my friend buy them and he gave us the wristbands because then you don't have to go through like the wristband exchange and all this stuff.
Did your friend go get the wristband ahead of time?
Yeah, so you can just buy the wristband and you just put the wristband on and walk in. It's all color coded and like they know what they know what they're looking for. Yeah, they're just like 3 or 4 times as we were walking in, they're like, they would yell something and everyone would put their hand up. So we're like, oh, put your hand up with a wristband up. So they're looking at you as you're as groups are coming in, and then to make sure, when we went from one building to the other, because you do have to cross a public road because it's basically on the other side of this road. Same thing. They're like, everyone hand up because you could just walk in. So look, they obviously know what they're doing, right? It's yeah.
Now your bartender, you said she was speaking to you guys in English?
We spoke as much English we spoke as much Japanese as she spoke English. It's the wonderful Google Translate helps. Easy mode, as Adam said, who went there in the 90s and had to learn how to speak Japanese before he went. Now we just talk into our phones and it spits out close enough to get by. So we don't have the universal translators yet, but and one day. I
remember being like at 4 a.m. being at some bar, and I remember that like the bartender wasn't the happiest with us, but then I figured out he freaking spoke English. So I was like, dude, he understands everything we're saying. Why, And he goes, yeah, he didn't care much for us.
That's why, because you spoke English. He hates you.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot, especially in Tokyo, in the big areas, a lot of people speak, they say they don't speak English, but then they kind of understand a little. They understand enough to get by. And, the smaller cities, obviously, it's a lot tougher.
But a lot figured it out, dude. I called him out. He was fluent, like a fluent.
Oh, really?
I was like, damn. Yeah.
After the Olympics or leading up to the Olympics, they redid a lot of the signage, and like all the trains have at least Japanese and English. A couple of them have Chinese.
I mean, the beautiful thing about the JR line is it goes in a circle. So if you fuck up, you just keep riding. Eventually, you get to the right destination.
Yeah, it'll either kick you back. Like there's some that are circled, or some that go back and forth. So you get to the end and you just hop back on when it goes back the other way. And again, Google Maps, it figures it out. It knows where you're going, so you can might not be the absolute best route, but you can just, okay, I got to be at this train station. Okay, I'll figure this out. It's not the first, when we were there the first time, it was like, okay, this is unnavigatable. I don't get this at all. But then after a couple of days, you sort of pick it up. The first day we got there, we kind of had that like, oh right, we gotta figure out how this all works then, and then you just sort of snap into it, and just go where the crowd's going. More than likely, you're going to the same area, you know.
I remember when I was there,
how do you get out? Follow the crowd. Just go where the crowd's going. They're going out too. So, you know, you'll end up on the street and then you just find where you're going to go. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Now, I remember when I was there, it was mainly we just like walked to the JR line, and then we went from the JR line to close where we needed to go, and then we figured out from there how to get to where we needed to be. Yeah.
So, Comic Conspiracy Japan trip coming. I know Kevin wants to go. Lane, you in?
Hell yeah.
Brock, bring back some souvenirs.
Been too long, Ryan. I gotta, It's I don't know if I'm gonna hit it in 25, but 26 for sure, if not this year.
I didn't sleep when I was there, man. I tell you that much. I remember I was getting home every day at like 6 or 7 a.m. because I had to wait for the trains to go again. They stop at midnight, so if you keep drinking past it, you kind of just got to be out all night.
So is that Kevin calling Winter Comiket 2026? Is that the plan? Leanne's looking at me like she's in. So
2 years from now?
I'll do any excuse to Japan. I'll do it, man. I'm down, dude. Like you have no one. Yeah, I'm so down for Japan.
I'd actually love to see Brock in Japan. I think it'd be a very interesting experience. You'd get around. Okay.
It'd be hard for Brock because there's no vegan.
It's easier to. Oh yeah, that'd be the hardest part. It's tough vegetarian. Vegan's impossible.
I had no problem, man. It's called go to the
vegan.
No, well, for me, I'm vegetarian. Brock probably had a bigger problem, but I just go straight to the 7-Eleven. I was living off those egg and cheese sandwiches, dude, every day.
Egg salad sandwich from 7-Eleven, man.
The enclosed one, dude. I was living on that, man. I was like, not all day, man. I don't need nothing else. I'll eat proper when I'm home.
Yeah, there is some vegan places. We actually, where the Nintendo store is in, was that Shibuya? There was a vegan falafel place. Oh, nice. Although I question whether.
It made you sick?
No, I question whether it was all vegan. Was it all vegan?
Yeah.
Okay. It was run by an Indian guy, and I don't know what the other guy was. Was he Dutch, German? He was something. He was Toby. He was some Toby.
All right.
Some mix of things. So yeah, there's a little bit, but it's not. It's tough. Vegetarians, fish is fine. Vegetarians tough. Vegan would be extremely difficult. So
I can find out. I know someone there that's vegan. So I can.
Oh, really? I mean, if you make your own food, it's fine. I mean, if you're fine just making rice and
No, I mean, as long as they're steaming like vegetables or rice, you're pretty much okay. You just can't.
Yeah, not a lot, especially eating out. Man, not a lot of vegetables in Japan. It kind of was a weird experience. It was weird. Leanne was pointing that out. Yeah, everything's deep fried. Everything's not a lot of vegetables. Depends where you go, I guess. But or pickled.
Sandwiches, I have no idea what I've eaten at Japan. Because it might have just been alcohol.
Is alcohol vegan?
And then the sandwich. Yeah.
Some Asahi beer. Pound down a few of those every day. You're fine.
I'll figure it out.
But yeah, that was our. We did a bunch of other stuff that was less nerdy, and what else did we do? We did the Studio Ghibli Park.
Oh, the park one, not the museum though. You did the park.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. The park, which is if you're planning for this, I don't know. We kind of looked around. No, it's a full day thing. It's beyond a full day thing. It's massive.
But it looked like it was mostly photo ops, though, eh?
It's all photo ops. Yeah, it's all photo ops and walking around like exhibits and stuff. But it's absolutely humongous.
Not so sure. I don't know how much interest I have in photo ops.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's basically like you're in a life-size Ghibli stuff. It's like, oh, here's Kiki's house and yard and her parents' house, and everything has like you just poke through it in his drawers, and you take everyone just kind of queues up for photos, and like, oh, you can go into what's the
wait, can you lay on Totoro's belly?
So we only got to 2 of the 5 places. Totoro is literally like you have to take a bus or hike to his like little village.
Hell yeah!
Like it's not like, oh, it's an amusement park like Disneyland. You could go around the corner. No, like this shit's like way the fuck out there. Like, yeah, it's like we didn't get there, so it is. It was.
All right, need a full day for that one.
It's a full day thing. It's massive.
All right.
And again, it closes like 5 o'clock. It's everything in Japan closes like super early. It's weird. Yeah. What else we do? Anything else?
Went to
The
Disneyland.
nerdy stuff. Yeah, I went to the new Disney park. That was kind of a disappointment.
Didn't you go to
It was the new
exhibit? Was the one with all the one where you take your shoes off?
What?
Oh, the Team Labs
Team Labs.
stuff. We did a few of those. We did one when we went last time. Yeah, that's one of their like art exhibit things, like these kind of installation, a lot of projections, kind of free roaming art exhibits. They're neat. They're not. It's not like a Japanese thing, but it's neat. It kind of depends on how interested you are in that type of stuff. Leanne likes it better than I did. They're cool. One of them. They're cool to do once. Yeah. The Disney park, and I don't know if when this is going to change. Basically, they have a whole their new part of Disney Sea is like their fairy tale area. So it's a bunch of it's Tangled and Peter Pan and a bunch of new rides for that. But it wasn't like we thought. It's our mistake, but we thought you get on you can't enter this area unless you have one of their like free passes or you buy a pass to go on one of the rides. Kind of like how Star Wars was when they opened that here for a short time. You could only go in there because they wanted to manage the amount of people in there. So you could only go there if you had a fast pass to the attractions. That makes sense. And once you're in there, you can kind of do whatever you want. That's not the case here. So we couldn't get one of the fast passes. They're kind of equivalent of the fast pass because people are just waiting for hours and hours beforehand. So we bought one and we're like, okay, well, we got on the Tangled ride, which is fine. The Frozen one's the big one. Peter Pan's one of the big ones. Tangled's like the mid-size one. But it's okay. We paid like $15 each. It's fine. And now we're in there. Not the case. That's the only ride you get to do. You can walk around, but you can't go on any of the rides unless you got one of the fast pass type equivalent things or you bought them. And everything was sold out because everything sells out. So it was cool to walk around, but we really could only ride one ride in this whole new area. And that's the whole reason we went. So it was like, oh, that is unfortunate. When we went to Mario at Universal, again, you could do everything in there. Once you got in, you could do everything and they didn't kick you out. This is different. So it was not clear when we were doing this.
There's no way you could have gone on all of them.
Yeah, there was absolutely no way. You like things sold out. You could only queue for one thing, and then you could queue for something like an hour later. So there'd be no way to do like more than maybe 2 things, maybe 3 things. I guess if you have a group of like 6 people and everyone gets their own thing for all 6 people, I mean, I guess there is ways, but it either be super expensive or you have to be very lucky. So yeah, that was kind of like the one big bummer when we were there. It was still cool, but it just was not what we were hoping. Not what we were hoping for. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Can't win them all. Cool experience. Lots of comic stuff. Saw my weekly Shonen Jump every time I went to the 7-Eleven. Just comics, just out in the world. Very bizarre experience. I don't go to a comic store or anything.
Nice.
Never have that here. I come back to Diamond not being able to ship comics. That's what we come back to.
Yeah.
So what the hell's going on? Should we talk about anything? Guys want to talk about anything?
Yeah, throw a couple news stories. Come on. Give the public what they need.
I'll give the public what they need. I'll totally do that. Yeah, Diamond can't fucking ship shit anymore. What is happening? This happened kind of while we were leaving. We're going to go on some news stories here. I got a couple.
What, Tintin being in public domain along with Popeye?
Oh yeah, that's a bunch of nonsense. Longtime Geekbox listeners know my take on public domain.
Yeah.
Look forward to your Tintin horror movie next year.
Well, the Popeye one already has a movie poster already.
Just throw myself off a bridge. Diamond Comics, boy,
They show up at some point.
They do eventually. We've talked about the trouble Diamond Comics, our former primary comic distributors, had. They closed one of their major warehouses. I believe that happened I believe we were talking about that in our last episode.
Yeah, it was something that happened like right before the holiday.
Yeah, I think it happened in end of October, beginning of November, but then oh no, it's not closing. It is closed now. We have to get everything out. Everything's all screwed up now.
Yeah.
And basically, it doesn't affect us too much because we don't get much from Diamond anymore, and it's just nothing matters anymore. Nobody cares.
You know the most ironic thing about Diamond shipping stuff so late now?
Yeah.
People actually come in and ask about the books.
But does anyone care?
I mean,
if your
people that are asking
next
about
week,
the books are the ones that are like already subscribed to it, but they're still like, hey, is this book out? And it's like, yeah, but we didn't get it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe Friday?
Yeah. So I decided early, like, forget it. If the stuff isn't here Tuesday, it goes out the next week. I'm not processing this stuff in the middle of the week. I'm not putting new stuff on the shelf on a Friday or Monday for the previous Wednesday. So there are stores getting they basically condense everything down to one warehouse, and now stuff isn't getting shipped out on time. They closed the warehouse for a couple of days because of bad weather, holiday shipping schedule, but I still have no faith this is going to be fixed anytime soon. We are perennially 1 week behind with Diamond product. So we received last week's product Wednesday night. So that'll go out this week. The product that is supposed to be here in theory tomorrow for release on Wednesday, I still don't have tracking info on. So who knows when that's going to come in. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's real bad. If you're a small press guy and your store is getting stuff late, this is why it's not the store. There's a lot of companies still exclusive with Diamond. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for them. I don't want them to be going through this. I want their stuff on time. It's I think they've had to go through and change, their entire processing system. On our back end, our invoicing is all screwed up. We get these weird invoices for negative quantities. They don't give us our invoice till like the day we get the books, which means we have to like preload some like funky like temp invoice that might not be all the right product, so which is a nightmare for the back end of our website and invoicing.
Sounds like you just want to go back to Japan, dude.
Toby, I'm telling you, when are we buying our little house, our little abandoned Japanese house? Let's do it.
A circle of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't. I'm no real surprise, right? It's when this tough stuff kind of starts to fall apart, I think it just keeps getting worse, right? It's not going to get any better. I hope they figure it out. I really hope they figure it out, but I'm not expecting much. I'm not expecting much. What else we got? Hey, our boy Aquaman. He's back in the DC universe, everyone. Stargate Atlantis
was he gone?
Third favorite character is coming in to play Lobo.
Well,
Jason Momoa.
Didn't he think he was originally playing Lobo anyways in the beginning?
What's that?
Didn't he think he was going to play Lobo to begin with?
I think this happened this must have happened. Oh, the Superman trailer dropped when I was over there too, right? Yeah. That was like the day after I left or something. Mm-hmm. Like Superman trailer briefly. Yeah. Jason Momoa, no longer Aquaman. Hello, Lobo, official. He's in the Supergirl movie. Look at that. That's cool, huh?
Sure.
It's nice. Yeah, I can see Lobo. I can see Lobo being Supergirl. I like that.
Can see Lobo.
Okay, now I haven't read that Woman of Tomorrow since it came out. I don't remember Lobo being in that. Am I just?
He's not.
Oh, okay.
He's not. but I could see him. I don't know if he'll be like in the entire movie.
Please no.
Well, I have a feeling that every movie that's coming out from DC is going to have a few cameos.
Yeah, so I don't remember the guy's name. There's in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Supergirl goes out into space and finds this girl whose parents have been killed, and she's trying to hunt down the guy that killed her parents. So I could see if they want to make that Lobo, she's hunting down Lobo, and Lobo's kind of the bad guy of the film. I could see that. I would not prefer that, just because I think that would be, I like having an original kind of villain for the thing, but if that's the case, if they're hunting down Lobo, I could live with that. Lobo is kind of like Deadpool, a very what's the word I'm looking for? A very strong character, has a strong personality that could easily overtake sort of the tone of a movie. I would be okay if Lobo worked with the guy and like he hires Lobo for part of the movie to fight Supergirl and she kicks his ass and then goes about the rest of the movie without Lobo. Like I could live with that. But I if he's the main guy, he's the main guy. That's fine. We'll see.
No, you're missing the whole point.
Have any real info?
Lobo would be bounty hunting, so he would be helping them find the dude. She has to deal with some riff-raffy characters, and Lobo is one of them.
Yeah, I could see that, but again, I wouldn't want him to be in like the whole movie. I don't want this to be like a Lobo Supergirl team up. Yeah, and it's the same problem. I wouldn't want that. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. But we'll see. I'm actually looking through this. They did actually cast someone as Krem of the Yellow Hill, who's the guy in the comic. So he's going to be, I would assume, the villain. So yeah, this hopefully plays pretty close to the original comic, which would be great. We can go on the Superman trailer. Kevin, do you watch it? Are you just out totally on trailers?
I watched it.
We never talked about this.
No, I watched it. Now I'm dark.
Okay.
That's it.
And this is a teaser, but it was a 2-minute tone teaser, I guess. Tone trailer. Definitely not a lot of plot, but heavy on mood and tone. We can go around and everyone kind of give their opinion, but it's not, I don't think it's bad at all. I just can't get excited. I don't want to be excited about anything because I just feel so beaten down by 5 years of the MCU that have not worked for me, and just a general disappointment of the DC movies that have not worked for anyone else. And my absolute gripping, nightmare-inducing fear of this movie bombing and DC getting sold for pieces and my entire career being destroyed because of it. So I'm trying to just be like, hey, cool Superman movie. Oh, we'll see what happens. We have Superman and FF, and these very easily could decide the fate of everything
the multiverse
we love. August could be a grim fucking month, Kevin. That's all I'm saying.
You think we're going to get to August before you say it's a grim month of 2025?
They for comics, comics, right. Okay? Because if FF and Superman bomb, boy, oh boy, I don't know where we go from here because
the Dark Ages, let it cool out. Start over.
Yeah, but it cools out by Warner Discovery and Disney being like, maybe this comic thing wasn't such a good idea after all.
They made enough money that's never going to happen.
Disney, yes. Warner, I don't know. We like Batman. What if we just got rid of everything else? Do we need the Metal Men and Plastic Man and Adam Strange and Shazam? Do we really need those? Can't we just have Batman and nothing else?
It's going to be
Maybe
Batman and. So
maybe
Batman
we just get rid of everything else.
Batman and this.
What if we just got rid of everything that wasn't Batman? Because we're not going to get rid of Batman, but like Superman clearly doesn't work. It's bombed like 4 times in a row.
Down.
Like
pump the brakes.
Like we don't have to publish these
pump
books
the brakes.
anymore, right?
You're spinning down into your full rabbit hole of
This is my fear. This is what keeps me awake at night. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of these movies. Okay, so I'm trying to just.
You didn't get any feels during the trailer?
I mean, my only actual complaint is Guy Gardner's hair.
Guy Gardner's the fucking worst. It looked like shit.
It's supposed to be the worst.
No.
No,
Guy Gardner's hair looks wrong. It doesn't look bad. It looks wrong. That's not what Guy Gardner's hair looks like. That's the problem. I am 100% down with the bowl cut. That's not what Guy Gardner's hair looks like. Just fix Guy Gardner's hair. 100%.
That's not happening.
No, the hair is wrong.
Maybe it'll happen in the movie.
Everything else? Maybe. Everything else? I mean, Crypto.
I was gonna say, I was waiting for that one, dude. I was like, not excited about Crypto, dude. That what made the trailer for me.
Of course I'm excited about Crypto, but I'm trying to remember that the entire comic industry is doomed, and I'm going to be out of a job when my store spontaneously combusts at the end of July when Fantastic Four ends up with a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. And,
would you stop? You're going back down it again. Stop.
And CB Cebulski flings himself off the story of 666. What the hell's their address? What the hell's their
I don't think they're at 666 anymore.
Oh no, it was DC at 666 something? Yeah. No, DC was. Yeah. I'm just saying, man, I'm terrified. I'm fucking terrified. If the movies don't work, it's gonna be ugly. Because that's the money, right? I give two shits about the comics. That's the money.
Well, before I go on full Superman lockdown, I will just say this about that teaser.
Trailer's great.
Whatever you want to call it, trailer. My fear when they started announcing the cast is still my fear watching this teaser, and will still be my fear when I don't see anything else till I go into the theater, which is I don't want Superman to be the guest star in his own movie.
Yeah.
Which is
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. Like
this movie is everybody remembering their good times with Superman, and we're just at his funeral.
Well, I'm not going to compare. I certainly hope Superman is better than Black Adam, but as an example, being a guest star in your own movie, that's what I would point to.
Yeah, I mean, with Black Adam, it's a little different, right? Because it wasn't kind of his story, right? I mean, he's brought in by the actions of other people, and he's sort of this force that exists in it. I don't think that's going to be the case with Superman. I mean, it might.
No, I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what this is, right? It's a Guy Gardner movie.
I mean, now that once he fixed his fucking hair, he looks like a little Fester from that other movie. But they put the wig on him. That's all I can
Adam's
see.
Family when they put the wig on him.
Yeah. But I don't remember when is it the second one?
It's the second one, I think.
Wig, right? Yeah. I'm like, it just looks wrong. It doesn't look. It's supposed to look bad. I understand, but it's not the right bad. It's the wrong bad.
It's too
That's not what his hair looks like.
It's supposed to be more like.
It's supposed to be a bowl cut with like shaved on the sides and underneath. Like he's supposed to have the fucking.
He's supposed to have a really punchable face,
or the mo. He's supposed to have the mo. Like I'm not saying Larry Mo. He's supposed to have the mo. Like it doesn't look like that. Like it's just the wrong haircut. So, oh well. Well, you can't do. If that's my only complaint, is Guy Gardner's haircut. That'll be fine. Lane, Toby, thoughts?
I'm not completely sold yet on Superman. I hope it's good.
I think it looks great.
No, I mean him as Superman.
Oh, Corn Sweat.
Yeah, I mean, look, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I really do. I hope I'm wrong.
He's young.
I like his look as Clark though.
I like
dopey.
Flash.
He's a zoomer. He's a zoomer. He's got that broccoli hair.
Yeah, but I mean, he actually does.
You mean
look
the alpaca?
Yeah.
Watch out, they spit.
I'm not so sure about the hair, but anyway, I'm trying to be open and looking forward to it. I love the music. I love the feels, and the shot when he's protecting the girl. I'm like fucking 8 years old all over again watching Christopher Reeve, right? So. It's Superman, man. There's something classic about Superman that just gets me excited. So I just hope it's good. I really do. I'm excited. I'm excited. Look, I'm bummed. I'm bummed that Cavill didn't get a proper send off or didn't get a proper like sequel and so on. Look, I'm bummed. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a Snyder. What's it called? A Snyder.
Snyder bro.
A Snyder bro, right? But I certain things I think like he didn't get right, but certain things I did feel like were really cool and interesting. And I wish that universe got a proper send off, which is fine. It didn't. Look, I'm trying to give this a complete fresh start, which it deserves. I hope it's good. And Superman, no matter what, will always be one of my favorite characters. And he's always going to be classic to me, no matter what. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah,
they've got to get this right.
Although I will say that
I don't like the costume. I'm not a fan of the costume at all. I hate that costume. But again, I'm trying to be completely open-minded on the movie itself. So
Superman's costume.
What were you saying, bro?
Oh no, Lane was going.
No,
sorry, Lane.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the only smallest complaint I have for the trailer is I think they did my girl wrong, but that's just being picky. The fact that basically the engineer shows up for like 0.2 seconds.
I assume we're gonna get some like world building stuff and maybe what the deal with the Authority is. But I don't.
I don't even think she's gonna like armor up at all in this movie. It's gonna be her pre becoming the engineer, I think.
Yeah. Maybe she works with Max Lord or Luthor or something like that.
With Luthor because she's just a scientist and she's supposed to be that way. So makes sense.
Yeah. I do like how Luthor looks. Nicholas Hoult. Angry Luthor. I was like, hell yeah! All right. I mean, I might be getting old here because I am getting on the older side. I was like, man, that's a young ass motherfucking Luthor, but I'm down for angry Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
No, I think Gunn knows what he's doing, especially with that trailer. With just a brief moment of seeing the actor as Clark, but then transitioning to him as Superman, and also that quick shot of the actress that's playing Lois, like in the bullpen, like it was.
I mean, I'm sold on her. I'm sold on her.
All she did was turn, and I'm like,
doesn't matter. I'm sold on her.
Lois.
I was sold the minute they announced her as Lois. I'm like, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Next question or next topic.
But Leanne watched all of Miss Maisel. I kind of watched bits and pieces over her shoulder, but I was like, oh yeah, no, that's sure Lois, absolutely, 100%.
So I think at least with the characters themselves, we're poised to get something solid. Now the story that's attached to that, we can only hope. I am not the hugest fan of the Superman logo in this one.
Yeah. I mean the logo, the costume, not a fan, but the whole trailer, dude. I think I watched it like 10 times before I left the bathroom that morning. I literally
it's like being back at Comic-Con all over again.
No.
I just imagine Toby getting up. My legs.
It's not you silly monkeys. It's my morning routine. I get up, I go to the throne, and I watch a bunch of trailers. And that day, I only watched that one over and over and over and over and over again.
Stuff like the suit and the costume, I think people will kind of pick at a little bit in stills, but once you are like in the movie,
No.
if the movie's good, you don't care, right? If the plot's good,
no,
if the
if
acting's
the
good,
movie is good, I'll care less. Let's put it that way.
yeah, I don't care.
I don't know.
I don't.
Hey, it saves me money. I'm not gonna buy the action figure of it. That's cool.
Yeah, it usually doesn't bother me too much unless it's something like really hideous. Because you see the stuff in motion, and yeah, again, an action figure that still can look a little funky, but it doesn't bother me when it's on a real person. I've not had a lot of time to catch up on too many shows since I've been gone, but I did watch. I think I talked about having seen the third episode of well, real quick, Superman wise, I watched the last 4 episodes of Superman and Lois, and holy shit, that last episode,
yeah.
Oh my god, I was watching on the plane, and I'm like, am I going to start crying on this plane in front of all these people? That last episode hit me like a fucking ton of bricks.
There's something about watching shit on the plane, dude. I'm telling you. I'm like twice as emotional as normal in the end. There's something about watching shit on the plane that fucking gets the tears going.
That last like 15 minutes of that, I was like, yeah, it's good. I liked Superman and Lois a lot, right? And it was good last season. Everything was cool. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, we're not letting you out until we've got you. Oh my god. I'm not really a cry at movies and TV show type of guy, and I am definitely not a cry at superhero stuff. It's not that I don't like it. It's just not. Sorry, Tony Stark dying is not emotional to me in a way that would make me openly weep in a theater. Like nothing even close to.
We get it. You're dead inside. Okay,
I am. This Superman stuff fucking comes out of nowhere. If you've not been watching Superman and Lois and you need to catch up, boy howdy, be prepared for that final episode. It's a whopper.
Well, Ryan, you teed me up on this.
Yeah.
Recommendation to all the listeners, to Toby especially, and to you, is the documentary on Max right now called Super/Man.
I'm sure that's heartbreaking.
The Christopher Reeve one. Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to watch that.
Definitely. Yeah.
That might be too rough.
It's powerful.
I'm not sure if I can watch that, dude.
It's powerful.
I don't know if I could watch it though, man.
Yeah. I figured I didn't want to see. I knew I didn't want to see that in the theater.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It had like a really limited run, right?
A really limited run. Yeah. But Max is like the perfect It's like a perfect home movie.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to a theater for it, because it's a lot of footage that they shot at the house and stuff, his just day-to-day life. So it's not like a big theatrical experience. It's perfect on TV.
Yeah. I know that one is going to bum me out so much, man.
It's really good though, man. It's not just a downer. I mean, it's sad, but it's really good. It's powerful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you get to see Darth Vader training him at all in that documentary?
That's I'm trying to remember now, because my memory of it is kind of, they go through all that stuff of him training to be Superman, and his career before Superman and everything, like his whole life, basically. Yeah. Creature Commandos, Ryan, you did not. After the last time we recorded, you and I had just watched the first 2.
Yeah,
I've now finished. So I finished it all.
Okay, so I watched episode 3, which I thought was a monumental step up. Which was episode 3 was the G.I. Robot episode, and that was like, okay, this is perfect. So last night, 2 nights ago, I watched episode 4, and we got finally back on some normal routine. Watched the 4th episode. All the stuff with what's his face with Weasel, great. The humor, man. All the stuff with Frankenstein is the worst fucking shit. It's I hate it so much. What is going, like, this really scares me. I don't want this. I don't want this to be how any other movie is. It's bad. Like, it sucks because some of it's really good. But boy, that Frankenstein stuff is really hard to watch in a bad way because I don't know what I expected, but this is so far from it. So I don't.
No, this will work. If the cartoons suck, then the movies
doesn't
will
suck.
be good.
It doesn't suck.
So the movie, yeah, no, it's
good.
It's very specific parts of it are very bad, and very specific parts of it are very good. So it's tough because again, the comparison I made, I think when we watched the first two was with the Harley Quinn show, which like the first episode or two, I was like, the tone of this is a little funky. I mean, I know what they're going for. It's a little too try hard, but okay, I'll kind of get into this. And quickly you're like, yeah, I'm into this character. This all works for me. Clayface and what the fuck's his face? The Wonder Woman villain guy, Dr. Psycho. Like just nothing like the comics, but they're fun. They're funny. It's engaging. I like this take on it. I'm just an absolute fucking hard pass. I have seen no way for Frankenstein to become redeemable. It's not just the way he's portrayed. It's the voice. I think I just really dislike
David Harbour.
David Harbour. I think I just really dislike David Harbour.
This is why you just won't watch Stranger Things?
He wasn't good in Stranger Things either. Like, he's not the worst part of that show, but that show's just awful.
What?
But I think Stranger Things is terrible.
He was great in the episode of X-Files.
If he was in an episode of X-Files, then it was terrible because that means he was in the modern X-Files, and the modern X-Files is fucking terrible.
Can't wait.
He was in the original X-Files?
So.
Oh man, no. I can't wait for David Harbour to be at a convention with Ryan.
He would have been super young. He would.
So you're looking forward to Thunderbolts.
I have no idea. He would have been way too young to be in the original X-Files, I think, unless he was like a teenager or something. Anyway, maybe I just don't like David Harbour. His voice is awful. It doesn't fit the character at all. The character tone is terrible. It's not Frankenstein. It's not this. It's not just this isn't like Frankenstein. This isn't DC's Frankenstein in any way. It's bad. So do they fix that? Does that get any better?
There is more Frankenstein. I will tell you that.
Yeah, of course.
It's this thing where like I don't have the reaction you have, and this is no spoilers, but it's this thing where if every episode you say has an A, B, and C storyline, and you could kind of pull apart the strands of DNA and you go like, the A story is really good, the C story is really good, and the B is just kind of wobbly and weird. And every episode is like that. So it's not like you could say, oh, the show sucks, don't watch it, because there's really good stuff in it. Yep. But also there's blended in is stuff that's not so good, like consistently.
Yep. Like, I don't love the princess stuff. She's fine, but I kind of, okay, we're trying to figure out between Cersei and the princess kind of what this story is. So that's fine. All the character origin stuff is great. I mean, Gunn nails that fucked up, depressing, oddball character stuff. So that's never been the issue. The bride in the bride's flashback is not the problem. It's Frankenstein, right? So every episode, that is by far the worst part.
That's kind of the point of her story, though. Is that he is that way?
No, the portrayal of him is. I am fine if the events happen in basically the same way, but he's written not like this and sounds not like this. If like the actual event unfolds, I'll keep it kind of spoiler free, right? Frankenstein, bride doesn't want anything to do with Frankenstein, right? So Frankenstein's trying to go after the bride, but it's played up like a Looney Tunes.
It's
cartoon.
Like Pepe Le Pew and that other skunk.
Yeah,
it's exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not how any other part of the show is played up.
Right.
And I don't like I don't want to say something insulting. He talks very not the way I would have this character talk. it makes no sense. This isn't, if you want to give me Gur-Arg, Frankenstein, cool. If you want to give me like hyper-intelligent Morrison, modern Frankenstein, cool. This is something else. And he's a moron. And that's not any version of Frankenstein, right? So it's weird. I don't like it at all. It makes it hard to recommend because the part I don't like, I really, really dislike.
I would recommend the show. I'd recommend the show. Yeah. I agree with what you're saying, and I would still recommend it because the parts that I like outweigh that.
Yep. Yeah, only a couple episodes left. I mean, I'm going to obviously finish it. But that it sticks in my head of this is done, and boy, I don't ever want to see another character written like this again. I hope this is a one-off to get it out of his system, and everything else he does is not this. So
until David Harbour is in the live-action Frankenstein movie from DC Studios.
Shit.
Who's David Harbour going to play in the new DCU live actions?
Well, Frankenstein, if they're gonna cast the voice actor, so yeah, it's not good. Not good. All right. Well, that's some news from home and abroad. Thursday, don't forget, Toby. Switch 2 reveal. That's the rumor. I got my week planned. I don't know about this comic book shit, but rumor is Switch 2 reveal.
Really looking forward to it.
Geekbox next week. I'll have lots to say on that.
I might have to rush and get some of the games that I haven't picked up yet, like that. I haven't picked up that one. Because the later in life ones, once it disappeared, they're kind of hard to get.
Yeah.
When I get that Super Mario RPG remake, I haven't gotten that yet. There's a couple.
Don't miss chances to pick those up before they go away.
Yeah.
But that's it. A wonderful podcast. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for listening. You're back. We'll have an episode in a week or two. I know Geekbox should be Monday, so we'll be back in the end of January. Catch up on some other news. Hit a few things from the last few weeks. I'm sure there'll start to be some real news coming around the corner again soon.
Well, there was something that came out just as you came back that you didn't talk about. That's fucking amazing.
Well, we're closing up this podcast, so why don't we talk about this next time? Because it's time to leave.
Just letting you know the DC Comic Style Guide came out. We didn't talk anything about that.
Yeah. I haven't even opened mine. I'm sitting in my room in a box. We can talk about that next week. Thanks, Edward at geekyvillain.com, Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at the Executive Evolution Podcast, and Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast. And this is me realizing I never actually looked at Patreon this month, so hopefully you're all still on it. I haven't looked at it since I got back. Thank you for your continued support at patreon.com/comicconspiracy, and head over to comicconspiracypodcast.com or check us out on Apple Podcasts to find all the previous episodes, as well as Geekbox. And my buddy Ryan Scott talking about all sorts of nerdy stuff over there as well, alternating weeks with Comic Conspiracy. And if you go to comicsconspiracy.biz, you can purchase comic books from us. And boy, howdy, have you guys been purchasing comics from us, because Brock, shipping machine over at the warehouse.
Every day,
lots
of
orders.
2 fucking boxes.
Lots of orders going out from there. ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's website. You can check out his stuff there, although I do give a bit of a break, but I don't know if you update that stuff, let me know. Apparently there is now some site that's been around for a little while that's going to be like the Instagram replacements, as everyone's now leaving all the Meta
or whatever
products. So Facebook and Instagram are now going to die just the way Twitter is dying. So maybe we'll
only
jump
reason
on there
I go on Facebook is to click on the link for this podcast. Like, if we got rid of that, I'd be a happy man.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to do that soon. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, Charlie talking about Doctor Who, and Kevin's interview series called Between the Panels, which is at fanbasepress.com, and A Page I Love, a video series over at the Comic Art Live channel on YouTube. Check those out. And Leanne, a Wonderful Life, has all sorts of her artwork available at leannehill.com. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. Her artwork is on leannehill.com, at some point in the not too distant future, we'll be resetting up her website where you can buy artwork directly from her. You close Etsy or you're just? Yeah, she took everything off her Etsy account. Just the fees are getting ridiculous over there, and Etsy's a fucking all it is a bunch of drop shit from Temu in China now. Etsy's a pile of trash. Don't you love how the internet everything just dies and we just move on to the next thing? There's GeoCities, and it was like MySpace and Friendster and LiveJournal, right? Twitter. What's the next thing to die? I don't know. We'll find out soon.
What's the one with all the GIFs?
Now, with GeoCities?
No, just one of the GIFs. It was where people would just send each other GIFs.
Huh?
The one there was like a fan site. It was.
I mean Twitter, but that's just my Twitter because I just post GIFs all day.
It was before Twitter. It was huge for Orphan Black for some reason. It was I
have no idea. People send each other GIFs?
No. After Friendster, after MySpace, there was one.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
Snapchat? I never used Snapchat.
Not Snapchat before Snapchat. There was a website-based one. It's a website-based one.
I have no idea.
Blue border.
See, we got to be like the rest of the world and just get online and just stay there because it's whatever you want it to be. Like, we're the ones that fuck up and have all these divergent social media things. People just use Line. Just Line. There's just the one thing and they use everything on there. That's maybe what we should do. Everyone just go to Line. Be the cool hipster Americans.
I got a Doraemon theme on mine.
Hanging out online. Online? Yeah. So Blue Sky for the time being. I'm Ryan Higgins. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby's Toby XI. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. And that's it. It's a wonderful podcast.
Hey, I used Blue Sky to sell shit for the store while you were gone. So
nice
to a professional comic book creator.
Love it.
I know.
That's what social media.
Amazeballs.
That's what social media occasionally does, less than it used to. But in theory, that's what it's for. So, all right. We're going to go. We'll see you guys next week or 2 weeks. Goodbye.